Hello everybody, welcome back to another creepy story reading. Now, today the video is going to be a little bit different, so let me know what you guys think of how I've done this. I've had this idea rattling around in my head for a while, so yeah, let me know. But with that said, let's get straight into the story. Today I'm going to be reading The New Message. When I was 16 years old, I got my first cell phone. It was a normal flip phone, one that blinked red when I had a new text message. The first time I got one of the messages, I didn't think much of it. Him. I love you. Me. I think you have the wrong number, lol. Him. No, I love you. Me. Really? Well, who are you? Him. I'm your true love. I showed the message to my friend Christine. She just laughed and shrugged her shoulders. I didn't reply to the mysterious man's text messages and promptly forgot all about it. I figured the poor guy had probably been trying to date some girl and she gave him a wrong number to get rid of him. When I was 17 years old, I got a new BlackBerry phone, which still had the red blinking light for new messages. I got my first boyfriend. His name was Todd. One day, in the middle of class, I noticed the red blinking light inside my purse. Making sure the teacher wasn't looking, I pulled out my BlackBerry, held it under my desk, and read the message. Him. Where have you been? Me. Who is this? Him. I missed you, baby. You missed me too? Me. Sorry, you got the wrong number. Him. Don't play with me, sweet thing. Me. Seriously, you have the wrong number. I have a boyfriend. Bye. There's no response. There was no response, and then 2 days later, I received another message. Him. Jenna? What? He knew my name? I don't know how, but he knew my name. I showed the message to my boyfriend. Todd took the phone out of my hands and replied with an angry message. Me. Listen, dude, this is my girlfriend's phone. She doesn't know you, and she doesn't want to know you. You have the wrong number. If you don't lay off, we'll call the cops. Stop texting her. At this time, it seemed to do the trick. The mysterious man never replied, and I thought it was the end of it. When I was 18 years old, I got a new iPhone that went bing whenever I received a new message. I also broke up with my boyfriend. The very next day after Todd and I split up, the messages started again. Him. I've missed you. I stared at my phone in disbelief. It couldn't be the same person, could it? Maybe it was just Todd trying to freak me out. Who is this? I replied. Him. You know who this is. I'm glad you got rid of him. Me. Who? Him. That scumbag you called a boyfriend. Seeing you with him made me mad. Me. Listen, you creep. Stop texting me. I don't know who you are, or if this is some kind of joke, but stop it. Him. No, you listen, bitch. You're mine. If I see you with another guy, you'll regret it. By the way, do you leave your curtains open at night so I can... By the way, do you leave your curtains at night so I can watch you? I was sitting on my bed as I read the text, horrified. I immediately turned to look out my window. It was on the ground floor. Anyone standing in the backyard could see straight into my room. I jumped up and pulled the curtains shut. Then I called my friend Christine and told her what had happened. She came right over and convinced me to go to the police. When we arrived at the police station, the officers were very helpful. I showed them my phone, and they managed to track the man's number. They ended up finding a battered old BlackBerry phone in an abandoned building about 2 blocks from my house. There's gooey stuff all over it, as well as on the floor. The phone was registered to a man who had gone missing a few months before. He'd still not been found. I changed my phone number, and for about a month or so, everything was fine. One night, I went to a party at a friend's house. A lot of guests were playing drinking games, and quite a few had passed out on the couch and were throwing up in the bathroom. At the end of the night, I realized that my purse was missing. I went around the house searching for it everywhere, but I couldn't find it. I saw Christine coming out of the bathroom and begged her to help me find my purse. We eventually went outside and found my purse laying on the front lawn. All of the contents were scattered across the grass. We started gathering everything up. Luckily, all my money and credit cards were still there. The only thing that was missing was my lip balm, which I honestly couldn't care less about. I figured one of the drunk girls had probably been rummaging through my purse to borrow some lip balm and had accidentally spilled everything out. Christina and I decided to call a taxi, but when I took out my phone, I realized somebody had been using it to send a bunch of text messages. The last text was just a bunch of gibberish. I had an unsettling feeling in the pit of my stomach, so I scrolled through the messages. I was right. Some drunk girl had been playing around with my phone. She had answered posing as me. A whole conversation had taken place. Him. Hey, sweetie. Haven't talked in a while. Her. You're right. Sup, sexy. Him. How are you? Her. Good, you? Him. I'm just sitting here thinking about you. I miss you. Did you miss me? Her. LOL. You're funny. Where are you? Her. Him. You know I can't tell you that. You already went to the police once. Her. The police? Him. You think I don't know? It took me a while to forgive you for that. Almost as long as it took me to find your new phone number. Did you miss me? Her. LOL. Yeah, sure. Him. I see you're not at home tonight. What are you doing? Her. You can see me? Him. No, Jenna. I can see where you are on GPS. That's not your house. Her. At a friend's house, drinking. Him. Are you drunk? Wait there. I'll come pick you up. 9 minutes later, the girl finally replied. Her. Okay, sorry. IJK. This is not Jenna. I found her phone. Him. You stole Jenna's phone? Her. No, I borrowed it. Him. I'm coming there right now. What have you done with Jenna? Her. Nothing. Don't come here, you creep. Him. I'll kill you if you hurt her. Him. Answer me. You better not have hurt her. Him. Bitch, you're dead. Her. Is that you in the red car? Her. Dude, you're creepy. I'm going inside. Her. What the fuck? Was that you? Her. Kate, stop. I'm leaving the There are 3 more text messages like this, with letters and numbers as if somebody had mashed the keyboard with their fingers. As I finished reading, the phone vibrated in my hand. Him. Jenna, I hope you found your phone and purse okay. I have the bitch that tried to steal them. Don't worry, she won't bother you again. Your lip balm tastes good. Tastes so good. I can't wait to taste it off your lips. I burst into tears and immediately called 911, trying to explain the gravity of the situation. A patrol car arrived about 10 minutes later, and the police officers found me sitting on the front lawn, sobbing. Christine was trying to comfort me, and a bunch of partygoers gathered around me, trying to figure out what happened. There was a man and a woman officer. The man was older and bald, but the woman looked only a few years older than me and looked very worried. I tried to tell them what had happened, but ended up just hanging my head and handing them the phone while choking out something like, texting me since I was 16 and already went to police and please help her. As soon as the police figured out what was happening, they ran back to the patrol car and called it in. Hours later, using the GPS, they managed to locate the other phone. It was in a lake. They pulled the lifeless body of the drunk girl out of the icy cold water. The phone had been shoved halfway down her throat. When the police identified her, it turned out I had only met her once, and we had one friend in common. Even though I didn't know her, I went to her funeral and listened to all the things her friends and family said about her. So many people loved her. I felt terrible about what happened. The guilt was unbearing, and even though everyone told me that it wasn't my fault, I still blamed myself. The stalker had made me feel completely vulnerable. I was afraid that if he kept on finding me, it would seem like a nightmare would never end. I changed my number again, then I moved house. A good friend of mine, a guy named Matt, had a 2-bedroom apartment and was looking for a roommate. I thought that would be the safest place for me to stay. For a while, it appeared that my life would go back to normal. However, a few weeks ago, the messages started again. In the early hours in the morning, my phone buzzed. I reached for it and read the text message with tired, haunted eyes. Him. Found you! I stared at the screen, unable to move for a few minutes. Him. Aren't you going to say hello? Bitter tears started rolling down my cheeks. Him. You know I hate to see you cry. I froze for a few moments. I didn't breathe. I didn't even blink. Slowly, I turned my head and stared in horror at my bedroom window. Outside on the fire escape stood a man. He was dressed in black from head to toe and silhouetted against the street lights behind him. All I could see clearly was the pale skin of his hands pressed against the window. His hot breath was fogging up the glass. I didn't wait to see what would happen next. I jumped out of bed and I ran down the hallway and burst into Matt's room, screaming for him to call the police. He jolted quickly out of his slumber. "Jenna, what is it? What's wrong?" he asked. "The man I told you about," I shouted in terror. "The stalker! He's here! He's outside my window! Call the police! Please! You have to!" He was too stunned to move. I grabbed his phone and called the police myself. As soon as I explained what happened, my roommate's eyes grew wide. He reached into his closet, grabbed a baseball bat, and set off down the hallway. I tried to get him back, but he didn't listen to me. His footsteps came to a stop, and I heard angry voices and the sounds of struggle. Then there was a thickening thunk. It sounded like wood colliding with somebody hard. A muffled voice shouted my name. I wasn't sure who it was. I heard someone moaning in pain, followed by a loud thud. Then the entire apartment went eerily silent. "Matt?" I yelled. There was no answer. I creeped out of his room as quietly as I could, and I made my way towards the kitchen, grabbed a butcher knife from the kitchen drawer, and I pressed myself against the wall and tried not to make a sound. In the doorway, I saw a large shadow appear. It was the silhouette of a man. He looked much larger than Matt. "What do you want?" I screamed. "I already called the police. They're on the way now." The man chuckled, a quiet, menacing chuckle. Then he started walking towards me, and all I could hear him muttering my name under his breath over and over again. "Jenna, Jenna, 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 Jenna." I didn't move. There was nowhere left for me to run. He came right up to me, and his face was inches from mine. He was older, and I thought he would be. His dark, scraggly beard, stricken with gray. His eyes were hollow, large black circles underneath. His teeth looked like they'd been rotting in his mouth for years. I was holding the knife behind my back. As his big, fat hand reached around my neck, I let out a primal scream and lashed out as hard as I could. He stumbled backwards, shocked and confusion on his face. The knife was sticking out of his chest. I pushed past him and ran out into the hallway. He tried to follow me, but when I looked over my shoulder, I saw him drop to his knees. Then he fell face first on the carpet. I wasn't sure if he was alive or dead, but I didn't want to take that chance. I ran into my bedroom and locked the door behind me. Matt laid slumped against the wall with a large purple bruise forming on his forehead. He was unconscious. I hurried over to him and cradled his head in my arms as we waited for the police to arrive. I touched Matt's face lightly and cried into his chest. I was terrified. Then I heard the sirens in the distance, and soon the flashing lights were outside my window. The police yelled when they entered my apartment. I heard them talking outside my room. They broke through my door, and I looked up gratefully. "What happened in the hallway?" the police asked. He came in through my window and attacked my friend. Then he was coming after me, so I stabbed him." The police officer looked puzzled at me. There was nothing in that hallway but a whole lot of blood. I looked from him to the hallway and began screaming. I took my phone and threw it at the wall as hard as I could, shattering it. They took Matt to the hospital and brought me to the police station for questioning. Halfway through my interview, the police was called out of the room. When he came back, he told me that the body of the man had been found a few blocks from my house. He had died of stab wounds. They identified the man and learned that he had a criminal record for stalking, kidnapping, and attempted murder. They broke into his house and found one room completely dedicated to me. I saw the pictures the police officers took. The walls were covered from floor to ceiling with images of me. In some of them, I looked no older than 13 years old. There's a lot of sticky stuff encrusted on the walls in the pictures. There were pillows and an old blanket on the floor. I thought I recognized the blanket. It was the one I lost when I was a child. They also found the remains of a girl's body in his freezer. A girl who had disappeared almost 20 years earlier. She had been his first obsession. He was a 48-year-old man when I killed him. He had no family or loved ones. He had lived like a hermit for most of his life. Matt finally got out of the hospital about a week ago. He had a fractured skull and 3 broken ribs, we moved into a new apartment, one with an alarm system and reinforced windows. We're officially boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't have a phone, and I don't know if I'll ever get one again. Whenever I hear the sound of Matt's phone ringing, though, it sends shivers down my spine. I'll never forget what that man did. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I was kind of excited when I found this on this website because I know this story and I really liked it. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed what I did with the video and stuff like that. Let me know what you guys think of it. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I will see you in the next video. Bye!